Hold on. It's been 2 years, hasn't it? Well, I'm still alive. I'm I'm gonna be here for a while on this earth. So let's give you a quick update before. Let's give you a quick update. 2 years ago, I was a sophomore turning into a junior, and I had a lot going on top of college admissions. I think that was just the first. Well, let me reintroduce myself. This window is really bright. Hi, my name is Karen. I am 19 years old. Still trying to figure things out. Less depressed. Still very depressed. I need to get that diagnosed. And yeah, I'm here. Stay to the end to guess where I've gotten. So 2 years ago, I made a YouTube account, and I should have started posting then, but now's a good time. But in 2 years, a lot has happened, and this isn't for you to feel bad for me, and this video isn't really meant to really help you with anything. This is just me documenting my story, my trauma, my everything. I have 1 hour until I have to meet with somebody, but this will be really just a heart to heart to me and this camera, just so I can document my life and see what happens in the next year. So sorry for the whole rant. Two 2 years ago, I was a sophomore, rising junior in high school, and that was the worst 2 years of my life. I didn't know what was going to happen in 2 years, but I will tell you. So, on top of, I still am an average student, but back then I didn't know anything. My school sucked, my friends sucked. How should I start this? So, I guess starting junior year, I had a goal. I had a goal of getting into college, and as you can tell from my last video, I was really scared. That was the first time I ever felt stress in my life, and holy, it never stopped after then. Every day, this motivation to get into college was through stress, not through ambition, not through motivation. It was through stress. Because up until that point, I was, 16, 17? I was a watcher, I was a follower, and I still am. And I'm trying to get better at it, but I didn't know what it meant to be alive. I didn't know anything else inside of my little bubble. And I'm making this really broad, but back then I was just this kid who just followed what everybody else did. And it wasn't until junior year where I finally thought I finally had thought of free will, that I didn't need to live the way that I needed to. And so so starting junior year, I worked my ass off. I didn't know what the SATs were. I learned everything about college admissions and how to get in. And my one goal was to go to an Ivy League. Wait until the end to see where I went. I So I worked my ass off. I self-studied for the SATs during that time. I started a club, Asian Culture Club, that time. And let's see what else. I don't even remember. Pharmacy technician. So I was doing a lot of extracurriculars, and all of my hours, all of my days waking were spent studying head down into my computer, studying, learning how to do the SATs, learning how to read, teach myself how to do math, reading, writing, science. I had to rebuild myself from the top. I did not know what it meant to become successful. Um, and also during that time, I think one of the other reasons why I had stress in the beginning was because of my brother William. So during this time, he fell into drugs, and it was really traumatic. I remember the first fight between him and my dad was that my brother was doing drugs in his room, and he hid that stuff from the whole family, obviously, but we could smell it and we could see the tools he was using. He was in a really bad friend group, and I don't know if I want to talk about this. Oh, I don't know if I want to talk about this. This is gonna take a long time. And this is making me realize I'm not a good storyteller, which I need to be. But it just kept getting worse. My brother would fight and hide to do drugs, and my dad did not like that. He didn't want any of us to do that, but there was this tension between my brother and my dad for the longest time. If I remember, I recorded every single incident, and I kept it in my phone. I At this time I was still a watcher. See, this is undocumented. This isn't scripted or anything. This is coming out of the top of my head. Maybe one day I will rewrite this better so I can tell a story better. But I don't know who my audience is. Mm. And yeah, that was the time I started feeling stressed. Fight between my brother and my dad, and at home there was just a lot of noise. I never intervened, and I was never there whenever they really needed me. I think I was scared, so I just recorded everything, and it never really truly helped break the fight. And as time went on, it got even worse. I remember this one time, same problem. It's just over and over, same problem. My brother wanting to do drugs and my dad wanting to stop it. But I remember this one time during Christmas, my dad sat us all down, and he was talking about how he wanted us to be good children. And my brother was in there too. But I was mad because my friends were waiting for me outside so that we can go hang out. And so I kept on talking back to him. And my dad, I vividly remember stabbing me in the foot that day. Yeah. Anyways, so as time went on, things progressed. I think the drugs finally got to my brother at some point, and during this time, I couldn't sleep. Wait, no. The drugs finally got to him in a way that my dad had to take extremes. It was gone too far. My dad had to think of a way to stop it once and for all. And this was the time where, I don't know, it was this constant cycle of me and, I mean, my brother running away, my dad having to find him, tell him to stop doing drugs. We would come back and start doing it again. So, and my dad didn't like them, so he kicked him out, and then the cycle would repeat over and over again. And my dad would be like crying to us, like, "Go find your brother," and it was it was really exhausting. It was really exhausting, and so it got to a point where we were all tired. We knew what was gonna happen because the same thing would happen over and over again. Topics would be the same over and over and over again until just one day my dad had the brilliant idea of making a cage for my brother. And this is really, and I don't mean like an actual dog cage, but it might as well have been a dog cage. He was locked into his room. He was separated and isolated from all the rest of us. He was put into his own little corner with a little cage, and he couldn't get food. My dad locked it from the inside out. So what he basically did was, my brother had his own room, and in that room, that was the biggest room. My dad gave him the biggest room, but in that room there was also a restroom next to it. My dad constructed a wall. He's a construction worker. He constructed a wall, so there was a literal physical wall in the gap between our house. And in that physical wall, he built a door that could only lock from the outside. And mind you, my brother is really strong. During the whole arguments, all of that, there would always be remnants of the trauma, the abuse, the cycle, whatever that happened, because there would always be at least one punched hole in the wall. There would be broken chairs, broken tables, broken everything. Our house was ugly from the start, but it didn't help that he kept on bringing stuff. And I didn't, at this time, like, I think I started to get used to it. But, so yeah, my dad built a cage for my brother. And we, at the start, it was weird. It was weird. I immediately thought of a dog cage. I immediately thought that my brother was a dog. And he was treated as one, as such. He couldn't get food unless we opened the door and gave it to him. He couldn't drink unless we opened the door and gave it to him. And at the start of the time, I was really sympathetic to him because I still felt bad because he was just stuck in his room, isolated all day. So whenever he asked to go be let out, I would let him. But every time I let him, get he would try to go outside and find drugs again. And I do mean drugs in a way that it used to be hard drugs, as in, I honestly don't even know and I don't even care, but something far ahead for weed. But once he got locked into the cage, he had to find some sort of addiction. And so he started picking up dirty, old used cigarette butts from the ground and relighting them and smoking them. And you don't understand, I live in a poor neighborhood, so there was so much of that obviously just on the concrete, on the grass, everywhere. So if he wanted to go outside and smoke, he literally could. And personally, I don't care if he smokes. Cigarettes are not that bad, but my dad was like a big, big no. He did not like that because that was a form of drug to him, which also is kind of hypocritical because my dad also does. cigarettes, and he also drinks. But that's as far as he goes, as far as I know. But still, like it does not make any sense. So I'm shaking. I'm shaking. After a while, I learned to just not open the door, not listen to him ask if he was hungry, not listen to him if he was thirsty, because I wasn't allowed to open the door anymore, because he would always be like, I promise I would just go out and get food, but every time I let him out of the door, he would go out and find drugs again, and that was, it would send a whole argument. So I just stopped opening the door, and after a while, we all got used to this new routine. My brother would be in his room all day, and that was the time I had insomnia from the start, from all of the, and mind you, in throughout all of this, I couldn't sleep most nights. I think, having Asian parents, there's not much love to be given around. They show their love in ways where, typical Asians do. They give the fruit, tell you to work hard, like all the typical Asian love. They don't really give you emotional support, though, is my point. And so throughout all of this, I didn't have anybody. I I had a journal though, and I had my recordings, so I would write down every single one of my feelings. And man, my insomnia was bad. I couldn't sleep some nights because I would just stay up and think about what I did wrong as a person to make this happen. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And so after we got used to this cycle, my I mean, as a person who's been isolated, I can feel him. Being stuck inside your room sucks, but this was the best way that my family could think of. Because we tried everything at this point. My brother would just keep on wanting to find drugs, and my dad wouldn't want him to. And I think the withdrawals of drugs and what is that called? Rehabilitation? No. It's whenever you try to go, like, anyways, my brother was having, um, sorry, what is that called? Withdrawal effects from the drugs. And he took some really dangerous illegal drugs at the time, and it messed up his brain or some whatever shit. Or it's because he was isolated for so long. Every single day inside his room, he would have obviously something to stimulate his brain. He had a laptop, he had everything in that room though. But it wasn't enough, which understandable. I don't think I could live in my room all day. I need the sun. Um, he started making noises. He started laughing and he started talking to himself. Um, and so every night, I would just hear laughter inside his room. He would start clapping. He would start punching the walls inside his room, and we weren't allowed to do anything. And I couldn't sleep. I had really I had really bad insomnia too. I was a really light sleeper back then. I am now. But any noise, even before this whole thing, even before I couldn't, I was a really light sleeper. So obviously this whole time I just couldn't. I wasn't allowed to sleep. I wasn't allowed to sleep. And my parents didn't let me leave. I didn't think of leaving during that time. but I wasn't allowed to sleep. So every single day at school, I was tired. Nobody knew. But I just feel really bad for my brother. I tried to help him out the best that I could. Sometimes whenever I couldn't sleep, and it was fine during this time because, mind you, I was still stressed about school. So the times I couldn't sleep, I would literally wake. I would be in my room awake with headphones on and just start studying. And this was just every single day, every single hour of my life was spent studying. And to spend studying or doing some extracurricular shit that does not even matter anymore. And this was every single second of my life. I My mind could not afford to focus on anything else. It was too tired to do anything else. I'm pretty sure I was in a fight or flight mode the whole time, but I was locked in. I was so seriously locked in. That's all I could think about. I had sophomore year, I had a lot of friends. I think junior and senior year, ew, I I didn't talk to anybody in a way that I didn't make real connections. It was all about school. It was literally all about school. Like people thought that I was some really educated person. No, I just wanted to leave my house. And so my brother in that room, anyways, back to my brother. He was still allowed to eat with us during dinner because I don't know, that's just an Asian tradition. You're supposed to eat with your family every single meal. And me and my other siblings, I have two other siblings, top of my brother, so I have three siblings. He was allowed to eat with us every dinner because that was the time where we were all available and we were all not at school slash work. And he was allowed to eat with us, but I started to smell this funky ass smell from him. I remember audibly saying, "Wow, you stink," to him because he did. He had a certain smell, and at the start it was fine because he he heard he I think he still cared about what he smelled like, so he would go and shower excessively, but like it kind of worked. Like he smelled a little better, and he would ask like, "Karen, do I smell better?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what I said, but I was like, yeah. And so he used to shower a lot, but now it's at the point where, but he kept on getting stinkier, and it's not like one of those like, oh, he stinks, like no, like he stank, like he stank. I don't know why it's funny, but it was bad. So he kept on showering, and it got to the point where he would shower like every single hour of the day into the night too, where because he kept on getting stinkier, and I kept on telling him he stank, and so sorry, I'm complaining. And so through the night he would shower too, and that was just one of the reasons why, on top of why I couldn't sleep. I'm sorry, this is just all about me again. And mind you, so it's at this point now where I guess everything has finally stabilized after my brother was in his room because we could all just ignore him, and my dad would be content because my brother wasn't out there looking for drugs, sneaking outside the house looking for drugs. And so during this whole time though, we he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and all this other shit that I'm pretty sure the drugs did. He became a lot fatter. He he became very brain dead too, if that makes any sense. All he does all day, I'm aware, he has really bad anger issues. He's one of those, I don't know, stinky gamer boys that just likes to play League of Legends all day, every day, and he broke a lot of laptops. And mind you, again, we are poor. We are poor. So he would punch the laptops too, and we had to go buy him every single one. There was this one time, actually, it was this winter break. I gave him my school laptop, which I fully regret now. But he bent the laptop, and the keyboard completely stopped working because of him. And after I got it back, I had to use it for school, obviously. And I opened up the laptop and I look at the history, and it's obviously what I expect. It's a lot of porn and games, and that's all he does all day, just porn and games, and that's why he's laughing at night. That's why he's just happy all the time. I think he's really ignorant to how my parents love him. Yeah. So at this point now, we are still taking him to hospitals and trying to get him to therapy and all of that. It never worked throughout throughout the whole 2 years. I'm dying. No, 2 years. He Therapy never once worked. Mental hospitals never once worked, and the bills keep adding up and adding up, and I feel a sense of responsibility for all this. One, because like I just never help them whenever they fall, and two, like I just feel bad. You know, that's still my family, even if I don't really like them. And so, yeah, that's where I am now. Nothing's really changed except that I left. And that was really selfish of me, but I needed to leave. But now that I'm here, I am not happy. Mm. Sorry, that was a really nice session. I'm gonna explain that better one day. So, guess where I got in? All my hard work got me here. I'm not even happy, I'm not gonna lie. It's my second term here, my winter term here, and I'm not happy. I have no friends. Um it feels Everything here feels genuinely fake to me, but I am so grateful for what I have here. Like, I don't know, people here have it lucky. Like, they don't understand how lucky they have it here. I have clean water every day. I have my own bed to sleep in, the best one of yet. Like, I just have silence, which I never once got once I was back home. And my dad's always like, Karen, come back. Like, he misses me, but like, it was those were the worst 2 years of my life. But in a way, it had to happen for me to leave. Like, in a way, I would have never changed if it didn't happen. But yeah, I'm still responsible for them, and I really want to help, but I don't know how. And so I've been trying. Fall semester, I was super depressed. I don't know why. I was so used to the cycle of my house. I got used to it though. It it didn't make me stronger, but I adapted. I ran I learned how to meditate during those times. I learned how to run a lot during those times. Like, I was a really ambitious person, literally, like a few months ago. But now, fall term, last term, I don't know who I am anymore. Like, I kept on thinking, it's like, I want to go home, but I don't really want to go home. I was just so used to the familiarity, I suppose. But yeah, fall term was not it, but I was healed. Oh my god. Gosh, I think my roommate's here. This is so. Anyways, okay, we're gonna keep it on it. What? Yeah, now that I'm here, oh, that was a really nice session, but I have to go now. It's 8:15. I need to do my makeup. I don't need to, but I'm learning. And That should be a whole other freaking story. Anyways, this was a really nice study session or yap session. I'm still trying to find my purpose. Um, yeah, I don't know how I survived that, but I don't know. Now I'm so depressed. I have nothing though, and I think that's a good thing. I don't have any skills or anything. Oh, that's why I need vlogging.